Hey, what's up, everyone? All right, check this out. This is going to be a very basic, fundamental lab of housekeeping commands and how to connect certain things in the packet tracer. I know I talked about this on one of my lives, but I'm going to actually do it. All right, I'm going to come here, 2911. Now, let's take a look at this. Obviously, this is our work area. We have a menu bar. Use it. You see that in my menu bar. In the options, preferences, I do have always show port labels. All right, I have that. I need to know what the hell I'm connecting to. Okay, and then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to get a layer 2 switch, which it will soon be obsolete. And then I'm going to get an end device, which is a PC. Now, you need to know your cabling. So here's all the categories of the things that you want, right? So this is for connections. Hit my lightning bolt here. If you choose the lightning bolt, it's cool. You can use it for, let's say, this right here. I use it. And it'll go ahead and use the first available port that it finds. So don't always use it. And your fast forward button is going to be your best friend, just so that thing can just hurry up and do what it's got to do. So the next thing is, now I want to connect ports from here to my router. I don't know why people pick the second port. All right, if you don't have one computer in your company, so you need to decide, hey, I'm going to use higher ports, whatever scheme you're using. But I like to use not the last available. It used to be the last available. Now that they've added some gigabit ports, I use those. So I use gig 01 to my router's gig 00. And for me, as a rule of thumb, I go ahead and I use the 00 whenever possible on the router as the gateway. All right, for the LAN. And then I get my place note. I call this the Gillette razor. That's what it looks like. Back in the old days, you open up that razor, put the Gillette razor in there. That's what that looks like. All right, but it's a place note. Click on it. Don't use it to create interfaces, okay? 192.168.1.0/24. If you're in networking, if you're already past the basic on IP addressing, you should know this is a Class C address that's using a default /24-bit mask, which means you have .1 to .254. So the first thing I do, just to get it over with, I go to the PC, go to the desktop, not the config tab. I go to the desktop tab, go to IP configuration, and I go 192.168.1.1. First available host. Lower IP addresses, okay, will be for the host. Higher end IP addresses will go for inter-networking devices. Then I just click here. It puts in the default mask. That's what I'm using. And my gateway is that router, 192.168.1.254. Cool? So that's it. I'm not doing IPv6 or anything like that. If you're given a lot by your professors, this automatically, it's there. I didn't do anything. It's already there. Okay? But whatever. If you put an IPv6 address, depending how good your computer is, it'll take a little bit and it should populate. These populate by themselves. Okay? The link local address, but we're not going there. All right, this is just IPv4. All right, so I got that done. I'm not going to do anything right now with the switch. I'm going to go straight to the router. So I'm going to come over here. 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 See how you can play around with this? All right, so you move it so that way you can have more of a workspace and you can see what it is that you're doing or to what device you're doing it to. So you want to make yourself comfortable, okay, when you're configuring so you can see things. Oh, and by the way, just a quick note, you go to options, preferences. If you're ever in a class with me, please, in the font tab, look what I use. For the applications, the size, I use a 16. For the CLI, that's the maximum, 20. And the tool tips that pop out, 16. Okay? I don't care what backgrounds you have or whatever here. You can leave the default, doesn't matter. But please, I'm not eagle eye. Use at least for the CLI. No less than 16, 20 would be nice. Just so you know, but look, you can do all these things. Isn't that awesome? All right, cool. All right, so now let's go ahead and open up the router. Again, let's see if I'll bring it all the way over here so I can have it nice and wide. All right, so when you boot up the router, obviously the router has its components, right? Its main 4 components, which is the ROM, RAM, NVRAM, and flash. So the flash is what's going to hold your iOS, okay? Your NVRAM is going to hold your startup config. So on boot up, when it looked for the startup config file, it didn't find it. So it didn't load anything. Therefore, you find yourself in this little thing right here, which is called what? Setup mode. Setup mode. What does that mean? It means that you're going to go ahead. If you type yes, it's going to ask you a bunch of freaking questions that you don't want to answer. Okay? You don't want to run through a little wizard. Okay? You're not going to do that. So you say no. Right? You say no here at this point. But let's say, I don't know, your mind is somewhere else and you want to say yes for whatever reason. And, oh, okay, would you like to enter the basic management? And you say, hey, what happened there? Let me enter yes again. I don't know. And then now it's asking you for a whole bunch of stuff. If you find yourself here, don't be afraid. Control C. And that takes you out of setup mode. Okay? Control C is a break command. Just takes you out of there. So just say no, or just Control C your way out. All right. This is called here, the symbol, user mode, user exec mode, if you want to call it the whole thing. It's user mode. User loser, can't do much here. All right, that's pretty much it. And that's the packet tracer. In a real iOS, you may see a little bit more, but you don't want to work here. All right, so you type enable, or EN for short. Now, this is where in the new CCNA Torrent Studio 1, they're calling this enable mode. And this is the logic behind it. Well, you're enabling high-level commands. This is always called privilege mode because you have privileges to do higher-level commands. But that's why they call it enable because you're enabling those privileged commands. By that logic, if I disable, so is this disable mode? No. But hey, you're taking a test, right? So if it's in the book and they say that for, well, it really was called enable mode back in, Fred Flintstone. No, it wasn't. Okay. For the test, call it friggin' enable mode. When you get out there and you're with actual engineers that they're worth and salt, it's friggin' privilege mode. So you come here, and there's more things, dangerous things you can do, like delete the flash. You don't want to do that. All right. So erase the startup config. So that's why you're privileged. All right. But you don't want to do that. So enable. But now there's certain things you can do here, and you should do, like this right here, clock. All right. So you're gonna put in the clock. All right. Let's do clock. What about the clock? Well, let's set what? Set the time, dude. All right. What time is it? I don't know. Let's just add whatever. Well, let's put my time. What's my time? 12:29. And let's just put 30 seconds. Whatever. What else can I put here? The day. What's today's day? Today's the 13th. Is that bad luck? Then what? Then the month. This is the 4th month. Okay. Then what? What? Oh, 04. Sorry. 04. Sorry. What? Oh, the month. Silly me. January, February, March. March. Is it March or April? January, February, March, April. April. And then the year, obviously 2024. And then that's it. Wow. That took a while. All right. So you set the clock. It is important to set the clock, synchronization, all that good stuff. All right. And really, is there anything else that I want to do here? So I got my notes over here. Hold on. Not really. Oh, well, you can do this one. Is it here? Yeah. This guy right here, terminal history. So what you do is you'll terminal history size, right? Yeah, size. All right, and what? Oops. So what you're gonna give it is, in order to configure quicker, okay, you want to remember in whatever prompt you're in so many commands that you did. So you can go up to 256. I think that's a little bit, that's an overkill. But let's say you put 25. Remember the last 25 commands that I typed in whichever prompt I'm in, it'll remember those commands. You can up arrow through that. So it's a good thing to do. All right, so you can just up arrow through things if you're being very repetitive. All right, and that's it. Then we go to global configuration, which is, I'm going to just type it out, configure terminal. All right, config T. This is your global. This is what you need to be paying attention to. This is what's changing. All right, this is global configuration. This is enable mode. This is up here. We have, let's go back up here. User mode, right? So in global configuration, one of the things that I like to do first is give the router a host name. So host name. If you look on the upper left-hand corner, it says router 2. So we'll give it R2. All right, that's it. So that's the name of the router. Let me see how I do this. Oh yeah, and there's another clock command here, clock, but it's really the time zone. All right, and then just give a name, let's say Florida. I think I'm -5, I don't know, maybe -4, I don't know. And that's it. You put in the time zone. Again, it's important. I used to make fun of it. It's important because of the synchronizations and all that good stuff. All right, now passwords on the router. Is this changing if you have higher level iOSs, you're using EVE-NG or CML2 or GNS3 or whatever, or actual routers, you know, it goes a little bit, you can use something called algorithm type, all right? But we don't have it here in the packet tracer, so we're gonna do enable password Cisco, right? Plain text password, enable secret. Let me see if indeed we don't have that. All right, yeah, see, secret, and then you just put in the name, level, set the exact level password. Really? No. Silly. All right, enable secret student. All right, so enable secret student. So what does that do? Let's stop right there. Let's go back, and we're going to do show start or show run. Well, let me do a WR, which is the same thing as copy OTIM-RAM into NVRAM. Your running config to your startup config, right? There's your startup config. It's in brackets, so just hit enter. All right, or you can just do WR, same thing. All right, and then you do show start, and there you see the time zone. Okay, there you see the plain text password, the enable password Cisco, and this is the enable secret is using MD5, which has been hacked already. And you can use that, but for testing purposes, this is what you're securing your router. Okay, all right. So now we're here at the router. The next thing that I would like to do is, because I like to do the lines, and some people don't understand what the line, you know, line con 0, line VTY. If you look at the physical aspect of your router, this port right here, that's your console port. Back in the day, all right, when I had to take my certification, we actually, in the test, they got a console cable, plugged it into the PC, and then plugged it into the console port of the router. So if you would click on the PC that's connected to whatever device you need to configure, and you would go to terminal, and it had to be 9600 8919, click OK, and now you were in the router. All right, so you need to have passwords for the console line. That's your line con 0. That's what that is. All right, but again, I just leave it there, but we're not going to use that. We're just going to click on it. And today's when you go take your test, it's not like that at all. You just hover over it and then just click on it, which is kind of sad because people forget about that. Okay, you should be aware of that, because when you get out there, you may have to actually go to the server room or wherever it's at and then console into a device. And if it's a brand new device, you're gonna have to console into it anyway. All right, if it has no configurations. So I like to do my lines next. All right, so I'm gonna do config T, line con 0 password. I'm just going to use Cisco, make things very easy. And I'm just going to type login. I'm going to show you the difference. All right. And there's two more commands that you should be aware of. Exec -timeout, 10 minutes, 15 seconds. If you're not typing anything, you're going to go ahead in 10 minutes and 15 seconds. If you're talking to somebody on the phone at work, okay, if you haven't done nothing for 10 minutes, 50 seconds, it'll take you out of your session. And then login, this is what I always do, login synchronous. Now, in the packet tracer, you can do login synchronous level all, which these are syslog messages that are popping up. You want to go ahead and make sure that you're always in the same line, that you're in sync with the prompt that you're in, okay? So if you do this, that will happen. If you don't do this, then what's going to happen is it's going to interrupt your typing, which is a nuisance. All right, and then that's the con. Con 0, we're going to do line con. the Wrath of Khan. Line VTY 0 space 15. That's the maximum here. You can do the same thing. Password Cisco. And then you're going to say login. Cool? Cool. So what's the big deal here? Oh, let's do the same thing. Exec hyphen timeout 10 minutes 15 seconds. And that means, so either you're telnetting in or you're SSHing in, you're using the terminal lines, or if you're doing a console in, then that time will apply as well. And then the login synchronous here also. Oops. All right, let's save that. Do WR. All right, I'm going to exit out. All right, so I'm outside the router right now. So I'm going to hit enter. Hey, give me a password. Okay, Cisco. All right, you're in user mode. Enable. What's the password? The secret takes over. So it's student. STUDENT. All right, not the other one. But you see they didn't prompt me for a username and password. It's just giving, hey, login, LOGIN, just tells you to put in your password. So what I'm going to do, well, something also that I like to do is turn this off. No IP domain hyphen lookup. Why do I want to turn that off? Because I do typos like crazy. And if it thinks, if I type something like, let's say EM, right? Instead of EN for enable, it's going to think I'm trying to resolve a hosting, and it's going to shoot out a broadcast looking for a DNS server. And it's like, you'll be sitting there twiddling your thumbs. You could try and do a Control-C or Control-Shift-6, something like that, to go ahead and break it, or Control-Shift-Pause-Break, something, but it may not be available to you. And then you're going to sit there like a dummy, not being able to do anything. So no IP domain hyphen lookup is a command that you can do. All right. Newer iOS says you can do no IP domain lookup. You don't have to worry about the hyphen. I don't know. All right. That's what they like to do. All right. So that's that. No IP domain lookup. Oh, now if you do look, and let's do this, Control Z takes me back to privilege mode or enable mode for the test. All right, and I'm going to do a pipe command, show run pipe section line. I want to look at the lines, right? And you can see that, and when you do these commands, you got to do everything in lowercase, okay? So when you look at this, you see it says, it's plain text, it's Cisco. So over the shoulder, people can just see that. You want to encrypt that. So what you do, let me do a show start again so you can see it. This guy's turned off by default, right? So you want to turn that on. So you're going to do config T or conf T. All right. If you type enough of the command, the router will know, or switch. And then you're going to do service password hyphen encryption. So it's going to encrypt all past, present, and future passwords, plain text passwords that you put in there, but it's not as strong. It's not as strong as the secret. So there's what we just did. When we turned this on, it took this student, enable password Cisco, this Cisco password here, okay, and is using MD7. And if you do that pipe command, see the up arrow? Nice. All right, now they're encrypted also using that MD7, right? Service password hyphen encryption. So a test question would be like, is the service password hyphen encryption stronger than the enable secret? Or which one of these is most stronger? And then they'll give you options. So obviously the enable secret, okay? Packet tracer wise, we have a new way of doing it, which is, I'm just gonna write it out. It's not a command that's here, but you would do enable secret. I'm just writing it. Enable secret, I think I'm spelling it right. Algorithm type. You can use SHA hyphen 256, or you can use script. And is it enable secret algorithm type or enable algorithm type secret? I think that's what it is. It's backwards. I'm sorry. Enable algorithm type secret, and then you put the SHA or the script. I like to use script, and then put whatever password it is that you're going to put. All right, password, and then the name of the password. But that's something you're doing on real routers. So they have higher level of encryption, much bigger, which is going to be a lot better than just using the basic MD5. All right, so we've done terminal history. We've done the clocks, the host names, the enable passwords, service password. Now we go to banners. Banner, MOTD, this is the one. And listen, I try to look for a list because there used to be a list of characters you can't use. Well, apparently the only one you can't use is this guy because he just kicks you out of it. But I put a whole bunch of other ones, like I did this. And they told, I found a place that said you shouldn't see quotes in the body of the message, right? So I say, okay, get out. All right, and then ended it. Whatever delimiting character you use, you end with. So I hit enter, right? And let's save that. Do WR. Let's do show start. And there's your banner right there. All right, and let's see if you actually see it. All right, so let's exit, Control Z, exit, and hit enter. And yeah, get out right there. Apparently in some blog or whatever the heck you call it, they say you shouldn't see quotes in the message. Is that a rule? I mean, I don't know. All right, so student. No, Cisco. What? What student? STUDENT. Cisco. CISCO. All right, so if this happens to you in the packet tracer, no problem. Go to your config tab. If it's available, if your instructor was a genius and decided he was just going to get rid of it, he's going to lock you out of it. Click on G0, come over here. All right, and then go there. But let's say he did lock it. Let's say he did lock it. You're like, oh, okay. You locked the config tab, huh? No problem. I'm going to go to the physical tab. Check this out now. I'm in the physical. Let me go back to the CLI real quick. Let me do WR. I'm just scared that it's not saved. So I'm going to go back to the physical. I'm going to look at the power button. I'm going to turn off the router. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn on the router and then immediately go to the CLI and do a break command, Control C. Okay? I'm going to turn on the router, go to the CLI tab and do Control C. So I'm going to turn on the router, go to the CLI, Control C. And now look where I'm at. I'm in Ramen. So your instructor says, oh, I'm going to give him a password. He's going to have to learn how to get in there. Or she, whatever. So I'm like, all right. So I'm going to change the register because the register changes how the router boots up or what it looks at. So by default is 0x2102, which says, hey, look at the startup config and if there's anything there, load it in NVRAM. I'm going to say, nope, ignore it. So configure registry 0x2142. Hit enter. And then I'm going to reset, meaning just like reload. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to setup mode. Nothing's there. Nothing's there. All right. I'm going to do a show run and you'll see nothing's there. All right. But I'm in the router. Ha ha ha. See? Setup mode. Say no. And if I were to do enable, see, no passwords, nothing. I do a show run. There's nothing. Nada. Right? But if I do a show start, there's all the stuff right there. So what do? You better do it this way. Config T. You're going to type copy. No, you don't have to do it there. You can do it here. Copy, start, run. Running config. Yep. Enter. There it is. But now I want to change the passwords because apparently something happened. So I'm going to say enable password Cisco enable secret student. Right? I'm going to go to the lines. Line con 0 password Cisco. But this time I'm going to put login local. I'll tell you why. You'll see soon enough. I'm not going to do the other two. I'm going to do line BTY 0 space 15 password Cisco login local. Cool. Now I'm going to exit out. I'm going to do it from well, let's go away and let's do a show ver. So show ver will show you that it's at 2142, all the way at the bottom. That means, hey, if there's a power outage, if this router reboots for whatever reason, it's going to, again, not load what you put in there. So we need to change this back. All right, so you're going to do, so you got everything up like you want it. All right, you copied everything in the start, your hard drive, your NVMe RAM, into RAM. You made your changes. You got one more change to make, which is config register 0x2102. All right, let's now save it. Now save it. And then you do show ver again. And you look at the bottom. It says, hey, it's right now it's like that, but if it reboots again, it'll be there. All right, cool. That's what you want. Awesome. No big deal. No big deal. So now what we're going to do is, let's put some IP addresses, right? Let's put the gateway address. Go to the interface. That's int is for short. Interface. I tab to do that, right? Because if you do this, let's say I, and without spaces, you put a question mark, it's going to tell you what you're allowed to type under that particular prompt. So I go INT. There's nothing in there that has INT. There's nothing in there that has IN. So I just hit tab key and it finishes it for me. G0/0. All right. And then I'm going to put the IP address. IP address 192.168.1.254. 255.255.255.0. No shots. Cool, because it's off. They're all off by default. Do WR. Do show IP int brief. Okay. SH is short for show int. You saw interface and brief. Then look at the summary of the interfaces for their IP configuration. And then you're going to see that here's my IP address and it's up. It was administratively down because that's how they all come. But now I turned it on by saying no shut. If you want to turn it off, shut. Turn it on, no shut. Okay. And then now there's another command that's similar to this. It's like its sister, which is called protocol. Show protocols. So you do show protocols, and it'll give you the same information that this is giving you in a different format. But what I'm looking for is that I put the right mask. So it's going to give you the mask as well. All right, cool. And you see the light turn green. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let's see if we have connectivity. So I'll just ping the host. How about that? Ping. So I don't have to get out of the router. Ping 192.168.1.1. And again, I don't like waiting. I hit the fast forward. Oh, there it was. I hit the fast forward button, but it beat me to it. There's your pings. If you ping again, you'll get the 4 bangs because of the ARP. All right. But let's say you're asked to do SSH. Right? You want to tell it is already there, but you want to do SSH. You want to do both. All right, no problem. If you're going to set up SSH, there's a couple things you need to do. So config T, you're going to say, first, you need a domain name. IP domain -name, and we'll call it cisco.com. Okay? Because it's going to use the host name and the domain name to generate the keys. All right? So then you're going to do IP SSH, authentication retries. I typed A and hit enter. Or hit tab, sorry. And then you have up to 5. I do 3. Then I do IP SSH timeout. Maximum is 120 seconds. And then IP SSH version, you only have version 2. That's the most. So that means you can have at least 768 bit size for your keys. But once you have the host name, once you have the domain name, right, Cisco, you can do the crypto command. If you don't have those two, you cannot do the crypto command, and then it would be useless then. So crypto key RSA generate. Oh, sorry. RSA what? Crypto key. Oh, crypto key generate. Sorry. RSA enter, and you see it says 512. You know you need at least 768. I just go for Gusto 4096. I mean, things are being hacked left and right nowadays because nobody's doing their due diligence. Okay, so that's done. It's doing it. Now you have SSH, but you have to go inside your terminal lines. So you go line VTY 0/15, right? You see that SSH2 has been enabled, and then you're going to question mark that, all right? And you're going to put, here it is, transport. Define transport protocols for this line. So the transport, you question mark that, is for inputs, people telnetting or SSHing in, and then you can say SSH or telnet, but in a lab scenario, we'll just put all. Cool. Now we got that out of the way. So we have SSH. So you see, we actually gave it how many times you can try and type in the password. We did a timeout. If you're not typing out, it's going to kick you out of the session, 120 seconds. Then we went ahead and created the keys, but we needed a host name and a domain name. We had to create that. All right. And then we went back into the terminal lines and we did the transport input, not output, input. I put all, so we can test both. Cool. And then what else? Let me take a look here. That's pretty much it, because the rest is just setting up. Because one of the things is CDP, which is already there, but we'll talk about it in another video. All right, so let's exit here. Let's copy run started. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. All right, and we should be good to go. We'll do a show start. There's your service password -encryption, your host name, your secret, your plain text, which is encrypted by that, your time zone. You have your IPSSH version 2. You turned off IP domain lookup, even though you have a domain name, but its purpose is for SSH, not because you have an actual domain. Okay, you have your IP address here, it's up, and you have your banner that says get out. One thing we haven't done is the user, right? Because we put in login local, remember? Login local. So we have to create a user account. So you got to give it privilege. User name, LDS, privilege 15 is 0 through 15. 15 being God mode, all right? 15, password. And then you can put 0 or 7. 0 unencrypted, 7 encrypted. It's going to encrypt it anyway. So I'm just going to put 0 and I'm going to put mango. I'll do something different. Mango. Right? So that word is there. It's going to get encrypted anyway, and I'll show you. Let's see if I can just do a run pipe section. Will I show that? Username? Yeah, sure did. All right, you see it's encrypted anyway. Okay? Because of the source password -encryption. So let's test this out. So let's go here. So let's try telnet first. Telnet to 192.168.1.254. What's the username? Oh, okay, LDS. What's the password? Mango. MANGO. You're in. And I'm not in user mode, am I? I'm in privilege mode straight away. So exit. Let's do SSH. SSH minus L list. It's LDS. That's the username after the list. And then what is it that who were you going? 192.168.1.254. All right, what's the password? You already gave it the username. It's Mango. MANGO. Boom. Get out. All right, and you're there. That's it. That's your a good basic housekeeping that you can do. So you set up SSH. You can telnet, you can SSH, you have the IP address on there, we have the enable passwords or the privilege mode passwords, the buffer, the clock, the banner. So there's quite a bit of stuff in there. All right, at least this will get you going, and hopefully it made sense for you college folks. All right, that's not making sense in your class. All right, good luck everybody. I'll see you in the next one.